What's going on? It's your boy Deuce Wayne.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's Big Merv in the building.
Yes, sir. And we are here for our second edition, the SceneDM Scouting Report, where we will review a movie in particular in depth, break it down, give our thoughts, our perspectives on what it was like after seeing the film. And the film in question is The Accountant 2. Merv, it's a sequel. The original came out, I think it was 9 years ago now. We're talking about The Accountant 2, which stars Ben Affleck. It also has John Bernthal, Cynthia Robinson, all those guys that are in it, J.K. Simmons. But what was your first initial thoughts of the film, Merv, after walking out of The Accountant 2?
My first initial thoughts about the film, even before it came out, was just like kind of unnecessary. I didn't see why a number two would be made. Then when I went to go see the movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. My only problem when I walked out was, okay, so what was the point of this movie exactly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not as in like, why did they make it, but the story is more so. The plot didn't really make sense. We jumped right into J.K. Simmons' character, who is supposed to be Ben Affleck and John's father. And it's just never referenced. I just want to talk that out. Like, it's never referenced. They never really talk about like things that are going on. They never clarify why things are going on, why they're deciding that this is the mission they're going on. From a confusing standpoint, that's where it comes into play.
Yeah. So overall, did you enjoy the film?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed Ben Affleck's performance and John's performance. We'll get into that later, but John's performance was really, really good. I thought that how they built his character up, especially after just watching him for like a little bit in the first movie. We never really got like a cool backstory or anything like that about him per se.
Right.
From that perspective, and seeing their relationship on screen was actually pretty enjoyable. So that's why I enjoyed about it.
Yeah, it definitely had that chemistry. You even see it on their press tour run that they're doing together, whether it's the GQ questions, the hot ones, all the things they're doing. You just see the camaraderie between them. They're both actors that have been in this space for a long time, and they do a great job with the roles that they're given. For me, I had a fun time watching the movie. I can say that honestly. Like, I left there, I was thrilled. I was invigorated, especially the action scenes. Both films have a great job of in the third act. They do a really good job of upping the ante when it comes to the fight choreography and the viciousness of the actual action. Outside of that, like you said, I think it plays off the banter and the relationship, the brotherly love that is unspoken but definitely understood between, family. And as both of us know, we also have, brothers in our personal life. So we can understand the complicated relationships that stem from that dynamic. But the story was a bit convoluted. A lot of trying to tie the thread together and backstories that might not have made sense. We could talk about a little bit later, especially when it comes to the picture on the wall and how that even backtracked. The first one, budgeted at $44 million and made over $150 million, right?
Great movie.
Great movies. I think that's the reason why, like, it appeared to be a B movie. The Accountant, when it came out, it wasn't a hit. I mean, obviously, me and you, we like action movies. So
Yeah, I said The Accountant was fire.
I didn't have a lot of people be like, yo, you see The Accountant? Like, The Accountant came out. Did you watch The Accountant? It was never that type of buzz. I feel like it was a more slow burn. It's like the ultimate dad movie. You know what I'm saying? This is a movie that me and my dad watch on the couch.
Yeah, like my dad
loving
was
it. Yeah, amped. I saw someone say it's like a Rain Man mixed with a Commando. And it's like a funny little blend of that. But let's get into it. Talk about the story really quickly and just break down the premise.
First movie, Ben Affleck's character, his name is Christian
Wolff. Yeah, sick name, by the way.
Sick name. He's just like a silent assassin, bro. He's an accountant that like is very smart, has a high IQ, very intelligent. Out of nowhere, just like has these fighting skills and these shooting skills and just can murk mans. And you're like, wait, what?
He was managing the accounts for like different, mafia, mob,
so
criminal underworld.
Yeah, so
right?
he does that, but he also is an accountant, like on the surface level. But on the back level, he's an accountant for all these mobs and everything like that. Knows all their stuff, so that even in Accountant 2, when he like the guy was and him were having like banter about like, yo, I paid my taxes, like I filed all my numbers and everything like that. He did all the math in his mind. It was just like, no, bro, you're capping. Like, I know you're capping. Yeah, I know you're capping. There's money being missed right here, and I don't know what you're talking about. And the man's like, no, I covered everything. He's like, no, bro, I know 100,000, da 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 da. Like, I was like, yo, fam, where did you get this number from? So, but in Accountant 2, we kind of just follow him again as J.K. Simmons, his father, Ray King, passes away. He's actually killed by this powerful guy that, like, runs. I don't even know who. That's another thing. Like, I don't know who. This guy's like a trafficker, like an American that's a trafficker that works with the Mexican cartel, I guess. Essentially is afraid because there's this person that he thinks is out to get him because he did something bad to them, but she doesn't remember him. and now she's considered like an assassin, like she's a murderer, like, you know what I mean? But she doesn't remember him because she had some blunt force trauma to her brain that actually gave her ASS, where it gives you the ability of your brain to like all of a sudden fixate on something else. It makes you smart in an area where you weren't smart before. We kind of follow her story, follow Ben Affleck, that he's trying to like find out like what Ray King, his father, was trying to like figure out. Then he calls his brother and John, and they have like a little banter and a lot of like brotherly stuff, talk about their childhood trauma, how they became who they are, why they're lonely, why whatever. So that was good. That was a good plot point to the movie. But Ben Affleck's character works with a federal agent to try to figure out, because she was friends with Ray King, trying to figure out what happened to him and what he was working on. Just that's how the movie was presented to me.
What you said is kind of what I walked away with it as well. It's one of those films. It's weird, right? Because it's one of those ones where you have to lock in and tap in. Even when you do, you're still like, gang.
I was locked. I don't know. I'm always locked into movies, dog.
Well, those ones where if you're at the crib, you rewind it. Like, did I miss something? How did we get here? Oh wait, I didn't miss anything. So I don't understand how we took this step. But at the same time, I forgive it. I'm a big Ben Affleck fan, as everybody on the pod knows. So for me, whenever I get the chance to see him star in a role. Also, I think it's pretty cool that he was able to have co-producing credits on this with the company that he owns with Matt Damon, to have that artistry attached to it as well. Usually films that are done by, Amazon, MGM aren't the best, but I think this film looked really well. Shot really, really good.
No,
the
good
cinematography
movie.
looked really good. The casting, there's a lot of people that know their roles and are good with this type of character. So I want to talk about Jon Bernthal. His introduction was probably one of the highlights of the film, right? And I think we spoke about it before briefly, but it's the epitome of what cinema and filmmaking is, in the sense where a regular director would have had a different choice. He would have shown maybe too much. And sometimes when you reveal too much, it takes away from the emphasis of the actual scene. In my opinion, even though I liked how good it was, it did drag on for a long time. Like, he had a full-blown conversation on the phone. It was funny, don't get me wrong, but it was like a whole 10, 13 minutes. From when we saw him in the hotel to the penthouse, it was an elongated scene. But I still think it works because Jon Bernthal has that charisma. He has that misguided anger and frustration that he can tweak out in certain things. That it's like, this guy's tweaking out over this.
That's facts. Nah, man, how he was introduced in this movie, obviously he was in the last one. It was a very as we obviously learn, and we're continuing to learn more about the movie industry and how screenplays are made and everything like that. It was a very interesting way to present a character, because you're not only presenting him or showing him in the way of like, oh, his physical attributes, but you also show him in an emotional and mental state. And when you show somebody in that emotional mental state, you can kind of understand what they're going through. You understand their intertwined like mind thoughts, like the interlocking of their thoughts. So the introduction that he had, he got to his hotel room, took off his clothes, and he was practicing the mirror, like talking to somebody. He was having a conversation with somebody. And like the entire time, I was like, oh, okay, it must be his like baby moms. It must be somebody like that, because he's just like, he like was trying to be calm, but he kept getting cheese. So I was like, okay, it must be somebody you do not like. Come to find out, it's just somebody that breeds corgis. And essentially, he wanted his corgis at 6 weeks instead of 8. You know, the recommended time for people to get their dogs freshly is 2 months, 8 weeks. And he wanted his at 6 weeks. And he was trying to explain to the breeder, like, these are crucial weeks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why you're mentally tricking the dog into believing that he should be around his mom and have all that stuff when we're going to drag him away from his mom anyway. So he's like, instead of using these 2 weeks to push his mind into something that he's not going to have, I will use these 2 weeks to build a stronger bond between him and I.
Right.
And then let me like bottle feed him, and then make it be a situation where, like, you know, we're connected like that. And the lady's like, nah, we don't, we can't hear her, but based on his responses, he's starting to get cheesed, but he's still keeping it together, which I thought he would cuss her out a lot longer, because you start yelling at him, and he's like, sorry, you're yelling at me, and I don't, and you can tell like he's getting cheesed. He's like, I don't really like when people yell at me, so like whatever. But it was just a crazy way. And then the next scene obviously is when he's in the penthouse eating ice cream. He's talking to a girl that looks distraught, like tears in her eyes. And he's telling her about life, the dog, the corgi, and everything like that, and going in and just like, like, I don't know, blah, blah. And then obviously his brother calls and his brother's like, yo, like, I need you for help with the situation that we're going through. Again, my plot point is that they never talk about their dad dying.
They don't, yeah.
Ever. I don't think they ever even referenced it. They don't care, which is weird. He's eating the ice cream, talking to the girl, and the girl is just like crying. She's like, yo, are you going to kill me? He's like, and we don't know what's going on. They built this scene perfectly. We don't know what's going on. He's like, kill you? Why would I kill you? What have I done to show you that I would kill you? He's like, all I was trying to do is just have a conversation with you. And by the way, you're a terrible conversation.
Terrible.
Like, and he just gets cheese, and he's just like, bro, I'm out of here, kind of thing, whatever, whatever, whatever. And while he's walking out, you see dead body, 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 all around the place. And it's just like, you can see, so then you're putting in that, oh, he's psychotic, is what you're saying. Is he's unwell. You saw him being anxious and being angry over the fact that he couldn't get his corgi, by the way, not anything. He just couldn't get his corgi before he wanted it, before he could. And then he was crashing out about that. And then he was just so calm about killing. You know what I mean? And then he was so calm about killing, but he was more nervous about talking to a human being about like a corgi than he was talking to a girl after he just murdered like 20 people. You know what I mean? And it set up such a mind state with him that, you know, he's like a crash out guy. He's a crash out guy.
Sure.
He's unwell in the mind when it comes to that. He's uneasy. He's like his brother, but on the whole different end, because his brother's way more calm. Crashes out too, but just way more calm. And he's just ready to crash out. He loves a fight. He just wants to fight. That's what he says. He's like, I just want to fight. Remind me a lot of the Punisher, to be honest with you. His performance.
The way that he was able to build the anticipation, I think you said it. The scene was set perfectly, and it's just an integral part because it's like you're unpacking the layers of him as a character. You see him, like you said, be so calm about killing because that's second nature to him. It's kind of like us on the basketball court, where fans are always like, man, how do you feel about shooting free throws in an environment of 30,000 fans? And you're just like, I've been doing this since I was 4 years old, bro. Like, I don't see these fans or hear them. I'm in my natural flow state. Like, I'm in my performative calm state, actually, when I'm playing basketball, even in high stressful environments. And for him, it's the same thing. He's been killing for so long, and he's so good at killing that it's like second nature. It's like breathing to him. But then doing something like making a commitment to try and take care of a dog is something that's really putting him on edge and taking him to that emotional state and point where he's actually about to lose it. I think it's really funny because it shows that duality between his character. Some of the fun scenes because of the fact that these two are on different ends in terms of their personalities. I love that scene with them in the bar, man. I thought that was like one of the more grounded, humanizing scenes of the film. It was like, oh, shoot, because we all have a friend where it's like you're at the club, your little bro finally makes a decision to go and talk to a girl, and you're just looking like, I'm proud, man. Oh, wow, he's actually dancing? Like, no, this is crazy. He's having a good time. And it's fun to see when your friends actually succeeds at that because they're usually introverted. That's not really their environment. So the dance and the choreography, and then like you said, it led to the funniest scene where it's like, oh, hit me. Like, my brother wants to fight. And
he's like, oh, he's been bored all night. Hit me.
So I thought that was hilarious, bro.
One thing about the movie that you even just mentioned was that the movie was very grounded. That was one thing I'll say. It was very grounded. Yes, it was assassins or killers, whatever, but it still was very grounded, even to the accountant standpoint, even to his dating life. You know what I mean? Like how he went on speed dating.
Oh man,
like that.
You know what I mean? Like, to ask you, what's the best speed dating you see in the movie? I would say Hitch.
Hitch. When she's like, I haven't been late in a year. And I was like, yo, you need this.
He tried to moneyball the speed dating game, bro. He said,
yeah, bro.
Put together, they're like, you did what?
They looked at his profile pictures. They're dying. They're like, yo, this guy's not serious, bro. But not like those parts just like make it grounded. You know what I mean? Like a Hitch. Like Hitch was such a grounded movie because it was like real. There was no extraterrestrial thing happening. There was no world-ending thing. It was just about love. You know what I mean? And granted, yeah, there was parts of the movie that were, but like I feel like there was a couple parts that stood out to me. Like you said, the bar scene. Then when they were sitting on top of the RV or whatever stuff, and they were just talking. I feel like those two parts right there, and even just like John when he was getting cheesed at him, like, bro, you're gonna drive to Mexico right now, you're gonna drive and he's just like, all right, bro, we're gonna do this then, and he just jumps in the car, like, you know, their banter, like with that, like, you could feel for John at times, like he's like, I felt actually bad for him, his character, and Brax, because I was like, yo, like, bro, all he wants to do is like feel love from somebody.
You know what's crazy?
Like his bro, and his bro couldn't even do that for him, you know, because his brother's just like, I haven't talked to you in 8 years. I thought you were dead. I couldn't find you. And he's like, bro, you found me, and then you never called me. You never texted me.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, Brax, he's like, Ben Affleck's guy, like, Brax, your phone, you can call me. And he's like, but bro, you don't miss me, you don't care, like, you know what I mean, like, whatever. So that's what the end of the movie when they were driving away, and like he said that, and like you could see Brax was like John's character was like starting to like tear up, like I could feel it because of the entire movie and how like their relationship was played out in the movie. You know what I mean? So that's the part like I would say that was very grounded for me because it just felt like I in the underworkings of the movie, outside of the action, whatever, it felt like a brotherly love story.
Yo, I would take it even further. We had an episode about the buddy cop films, and for a portion of the movie, it felt like a buddy cop film because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah,
on
it
this
really was.
mission. They had the banter. They got on each other's skin. And you spoke about the RV scene. I thought it was immaculate because it established a whole bunch of callbacks with the cat, right? And I thought that scene was just so cool. Do you think that was scripted? Because the way that they acted, you swear they just set the cameras up and they're just like, "Go ahead, bro. Y'all
Bro,
just
they looked
talk.
like they were just talking, bro. I
We'll
promise
leave
you.
the set. You
Yeah.
guys just keep talking." Because that's how natural it seemed. The way they feed off each other, it's like they don't eat too much scenes. You know how people try to out act each other? Nah,
Mhm.
they're just, we're gonna give our best to this scene, make it work and be successful.
But that's how it made it work because based on their characters, they were actually like John like was supposed to be the person that would overtalk, would do this,
Yeah.
would do all that. You know what I mean? So even though to some people it may seem like okay, he was not overacting the scene, but he was taking up a lot of time in the scene. It actually added to the story and why it felt more because you could see John would just wanted to talk to his brother, bro. He
That's
just
all he
wanted to be
wanted,
with his
bro.
brother. And Ben Affleck played a character great, where it was like, bro, like
He was lacking the emotional empathy, right? Like
yeah. I
he
think
obviously unconditionally loved his brother, but he
Mhm.
doesn't know how to express it. That's not
Mhm.
like in his wheelhouse. And that's
He
even what
doesn't
we
do that.
saw
Yeah.
in the first movie with the Anna Kendrick character, right? Where he's
Mhm.
unable to kind of, and then even in this one where he was kind of letting his guard down at the bar, but even then it
Mhm.
was like he would still say the wrong thing, not know how to read the situation in the room. And I
Yeah.
think, like you said, the superpower about this film is that it was grounded, right? But the best scenes were like those scenes between the brothers. Like, I think to me, the movie didn't really work when it tried to be something it really wasn't. We always talk about hot takes, man. One of my hot takes and my little heat check of this episode, Merv, is remember Good Will Hunting. We spoke about this in depth before, but
Mhm.
Good Will Hunting, when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck actually wrote the film, they actually had a whole espionage part to Will's character, right? Where like the third act, he leaves, he does some, and when they were trying to sell the script, everybody was like, "No, this script is good, but that last
Mhm.
part is like it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not, it
Mhm.
doesn't belong."
Yeah.
And a part of me is like, was this some of the remnants of Good Will Hunting? You know what I mean? But
Oh, that makes sense.
we
Yeah.
always
Makes
talk
sense.
about different worlds, same movie.
Yeah.
Like literally, I feel like that character is who Will Hunting would have eventually evolved to be. Because, like I said, when I did the research, it said like in the original script of Matt Damon and them, they had that character helping out the CIA and being super smart, and
Mhm.
just that kind of world and that connection is kind of fun to think about. Obviously, I might be reaching, but
Yeah.
it is funny to think that that is what the original Good Will Hunting kind of recipe was. To add to the grounded part and then their relationship is that I don't know if I'm trying to cut onions here, but being Jamaican, and maybe you could speak to this as well, but we grew up in a tough environment where it's tough love, right? Growing up, it's very rare that my parents would tell me they love me on the phone or in person, my grandma, my mom, and it's not like a bad thing. You
Mhm.
know, when I got old enough to be like, "Hey, mom, do you love me?" Because I see all my other friends in classes, their parents are dropping them off saying, "Love you," like and stuff like that. My parents is just like not saying that. I'm like, do you love me? Mom's like, "Do I love you? You see the clothes over your back? Do you see the roof over your head? Like,
Start moving
food
like
on your
Denzel
plate."
and Fences. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's on offenses. So you get to appreciate. And then when I asked my grandma, because my mom was like, my grandma, the same thing, and it was like just a
Mhm.
lineage of just tough love. They love you because they provide for you and do anything for you and protect you, but they're not verbalizing it. And that to me is why I really felt for Braxton's character because John Bernthal was, even though he's overconfident when it came to fighting and to his masculinity, he still was insecure. And that insecurity was basically stemming from the family trauma and the fact of not feeling loved and wanted. And like, I don't relate to that in its entirety, but a part
Mhm.
of me is like, oh, I understand what he means. Like, where he's talking to his brother, like, did you not miss me, bro? Like, you just called me because you needed something. You didn't call me
Yeah.
because
Just to
you
check in, just to
actually
say
to want to
hi.
check in and say
Yeah.
hi, or like Merv said, to talk about our father. Like you just called me because it's a job that needs to be get done, and I'm the one that'll successfully get it done.
It's actually funny you bring that up because that was one of the things that, like you said, like naturally as Jamaicans, it's not like a love thing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's not like that's not That's not a thing they kind of say. And it's funny, bro. Wildest things. My mom says it. She said that we came out the womb. We started it. She's like, yeah, we never used to say that. We just started. Like, I don't know how, but
Yeah.
whenever we would say it, we're like, all right, like, love you, mom, bye. And then she'd be like, wait, what?
Unfamiliar
Kind
to
of
her.
thing. Yeah, it was unfamiliar,
Yeah.
right? To the point where we changed the environment for a lot of our family. I won't say everybody. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but a lot of people. Like, I remember one time I was talking to my grandma on the phone, and I said, all right, grandma, later, love you. And she was just like, all right, bye. And I was like, and I got cheese, and I didn't get cheese. I was like, yo, I said to mom, like, yo, what was that about? Like, you know what I mean? She was like, yeah, grandma's not used to that, whatever. So she told her about it, and grandma ever since then has said I love you every single time, like we're
Wow.
leaving each other, whatever, like, you know what I mean? And it was something
Wow.
that like we kind of implemented ourselves, I guess. I don't know. And people tell me that all the time. Like, even when I talk to you guys and or talk to moms, she'll be like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? We never used to say that, you know what I mean? That wasn't a thing we said, da da da. And I'm just like, that's crazy, because I don't know where it even came from. I don't know how we did. It doesn't make sense. Maybe my older brother Matthew did it. I don't know how it happened. That's just how it is now. We all just say we love each other and everything like that. I definitely understand, like you said, like I definitely can see that. You know what I mean? Like where, like how his. That's why I said, like, at the end of the movie, I was like, yo, I was happy, bro. Like like the plot didn't make sense, but other than that, I was like, from that brotherly love
You feel
standpoint,
good. Yeah.
like I felt good. I was like, wow, like I understand his feeling. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just want to feel that, like you miss me, you love me, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is from a family member, significant other, whoever it is.
People assume that because you're around that person every day, you take it for granted. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you know that person loves me, or I love them, because why would I not be with them every day and around them and
Mhm.
doing this and that for them? But sometimes, like you said, just communicating it actually does more, and it really makes that heartfelt appreciation really be filled with more gratitude. It's important that people, get that, I guess, notion and perspective from the film. And that's why we love movies, right? Because you're able to tap into different emotional stuff like that, but also, kind of related to whoever, your friends, your family, or people you
Mhm.
might or not know. But I think it's safe to say the MVP of the movie, who
Obviously, John
cooking.
cooking. I think that he tapped into his Punisher role character, but also touched on different angles that, like, maybe he's dealt with, or maybe he's dealt with in other movies. But I really felt this character, when he said the things he did, how he felt about it. It just felt very genuine. It felt like it was him, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. It
Yeah,
felt like
yeah.
that was him. You know what I mean? It didn't feel. It really felt like they were brothers. It felt like,
Even the
you know.
scene when Christian was about to leave and he was still arguing, they were there.
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah, yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, you gonna leave me? You gonna drive all the way back though? You don't know? Just jump in the
I
car. And he
guess
just
again,
jumped in
he's
the
like,
road.
because like I'm gonna still be with bro, like right, wrong, or
Yeah,
in
yeah.
between. I got my bros back. Like he on some BS right now, but F it, bro. I'm gonna be on some BS with him. Like I'm gonna let him know he on some bull. But I'm gonna be with him right
But
there. I
yeah,
love
I ain't gonna
that.
say it in front of you. I'm gonna say it to him, but I ain't gonna say it in front of you. I'm gonna beat your
Right.
ass first, and then I'm gonna say it for like, yeah.
I bring that up because at the end, like I said, it turned into a whole trafficking, Liam Neeson taking situation. But when they started fighting, Merv, I'm not gonna lie, it's rare that I'm in the theater and I'm like, oh man, I don't want one of these characters to get got, bro. I was like, don't do it to me. Please don't have Christian get murked. Please don't have Brax get murked. And luckily they both
They're
survived.
plot
But I'm
armor. They
saying,
were gonna die. They're plot armor. They
but
were gonna die.
because of how great their relationship was, I was like, man, as a director, it would be something crazy to, what I'm saying, have one of them go. That would really be obviously impactful for the climatic ending of the movie. They survived and made it through. Obviously, Brass got shot. It was cool to see the battle, man, because in the first one, they ended up fighting each other in a sense. But in this one, they're working together, and it was like tactical. It was
Yeah.
like
Oh,
on
you see
some
on the shoulder, and he's like,
the shoulder,
like this.
like non-communication, just Splinter Cell type Tom
Yo,
Clancy.
I got lie. I was watching that. I was like, yo, Ray King might have done his thing still. I was like, yo, Ray King might have done his thing still, because it's like a sacrifice thing. You sacrifice their happiness, their love, whatever, for like moments like this. You know what I mean? These are the moments like where like they work together as a team and they're able to murk people like this. So that's
Hey,
why I looked at it, at least. Like
the
I was like, yo, that's
the
actually tough.
the Ball family, LeVar Ball.
You see what I'm saying? Like, hate him or love him, right? Hey, hey, man, hate him or love him.
The
But
sacrifices
yeah.
he made to get him there. But you ever watch a movie when the action scene, the death is so crazy, like it sticks with you, bro?
Mhm.
The one where he stomped on the bro's neck on the back of the concrete cinder block, I was OD. They put that in the movie. That's crazy. You know me, big Batman guy, Deuce Wayne. We talk about the ops, the operation, not ops as in the opponents. We're talking about the ops, your operational people, the people that help you, the guys in the chair, the people in the earpiece.
Mhm.
What was your thoughts on the neuroscientific kids that were kind of, hackers essentially. And first of all, how scary is that? Because we love the movie
Terrifying. That's
with
actually
Will
terrifying.
Smith. What's
Oh
Gene
no,
Hackman?
Enemy of State.
Enemy of State, where it's, Jack Black was able to zoom in on the shopping
That was
bag
back in the day, bro.
and
That
see the
was back in the
panties.
day. He was able
These
to measure
kids,
like, yo, if it fell into his pocket. I was like, fam, what are you talking about? And this
bro.
was back in the day, bro. Remember, this is early like 2000. So
And
like,
now
to
you
see
saw
that
what
now,
happened. The level of security and the fact that our privacy is no more. I mean, Cynthia's character was like, they can't do this. Tell them stop. They're on the laptop. The girl.
nah, she cheesed me though. I was like, shut up, bro. Please shut up. We're trying to get this information down. Shut up, please. I don't want to hear ethics right now. It's not time for ethics.
They're like, there's no way you can get it. Ben Affleck's like, please watch. Give us a couple seconds.
She's like, yo, he's the best that we have. He had 2 cameras, and they're like, well, there's 10 cameras, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Bro, but how scary is the girl got up? They made it turn the TV up. She gets up. They're able to screen mirror or
ring the
mirror
doorbell.
the screen.
Yeah, it rang the doorbell. I was like, holy. Fam.
I ain't gonna lie. Again, we talked about the movie with Angelina Jolie and the Hackers movie. Ever since we've been peeping these hacker movies, bro, I'm into it, bro.
They're probably watching us right now.
I get nerded out like, oh, that's what they did? That's tough.
I know, right?
What was your thoughts on like him having the kids in the chair? I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was unique.
I thought it was unique. Again, plot wise, didn't make sense, but it was unique though. Especially him not knowing the kid and just assuming that the kid is like those kids. I didn't understand that part. However it works, movie magic.
Do you think this was an example of them cutting out some things in the movie and that's why there were so many holes? Or
maybe, but because how we were introduced to Ray, J.K. Simmons' character in this movie was he was frantically trying to tell this girl about finding somebody, and did he even show her the picture yet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember if he showed her the picture because when she saw the picture the second time, all of a sudden her memory came back.
Yeah, came back
out of nowhere. Anyways, the kids in the chair, I thought it was actually really cool. The plot didn't make sense, but for just the idea of it, it was a really cool idea. How they all worked and they were competing against each other, like trying to do all this stuff, and it was like really cool. Like they really enjoyed it. And kids are gifted at stuff, man. Let them do what they do, bro. So
let them excel, man.
They were able to take a girl's selfie, fam, and get a girl's face. I said, yeah,
from
man.
the street, bro. CCTV.
I said, yeah, man. You guys got it. So
that was tough. So we talked about who the MVP of the film was, right? Who was the sixth man? Who was the best supporting cast member of this film? Who brought it?
Ben, honestly. I'd probably just go with Ben, to be honest with you. But even though he was like the main character, maybe I'll give it to Michael Tork. I liked his banter with Ben Affleck when they were in. If I want to give it to somebody else, I'll probably give it to Michael Tork. Kind of funny in his role, even though it was like a 2-second role, and even though they murked him,
he got murked.
He got murked. But definitely have given it to Cynthia Robinson. But I just felt like. But I felt like her role, it wasn't her, because I love her as an actor. I just don't think her role was necessary.
Yeah, and that reminds me, first of all, I think Ben Affleck was definitely the sixth man. That brings me to the next point. If we had to talk about, as we know, some players, they get teed up, man. They're too many texts and they get thrown out. The ejection for this film, I feel like, was Cynthia's character, and I'm only saying that not because of her as an actor. I think she's immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
The role that Cynthia was playing was counterproductive to what they were trying to do in terms of following up on these leads. Yes, I understand that maybe Christian Wolff's methods are to turn a cheek or blind eye to, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely someone that does not abide by the rules when it comes to tracking down. By any means. He thinks he's a vigilante and he's like that, and you can't tell him otherwise. But at the same time, if you're trying to avenge your boss, former boss, Raymond King,
and your friend
murder.
Yeah.
And he specifically led you to Christian Wolff because he was like, find the accountant. The accountant will make
the last thing he wrote. That was the last thing.
Literally, his dying breath was to find the accountant. And the whole way you're nagging the accountant on his methods and his, like, literally every scene, she's like, why are you doing this? Don't do this. I'm out of here. Da-da-da. Like, the senior is talking about where he was pressing the guy about his tax returns and filling out the stuff. She was like, stop. And if Christian had stopped, they would not have gotten the information that they needed.
Yeah, of course.
Ejection. She had to be thrown out of the game.
Yeah. Personally,
her character.
She had a couple of texts in the game. I'm not gonna lie to you. She had a couple of texts in this movie. She had a couple of texts that were just were uncalled for. First tech, I would like to say that was unnecessary talking when you don't need to talk. Let the accountant do his thing. When she was beating up those guys, you was beating up
Oh
those
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was tech number one. Review. We went to the review board, and she hit the man above the head. That's flagrant one. That's a flagrant one right there. The second tech was definitely around the range where she had that man in the back of the whip.
Oh, yep.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm driving off. I'm out. I'm done. You guys are doing too much. I'm off this. Yada yada yada."
And man's in the trunk.
And man's in the trunk. Personally, and then she said, "Yo, I'm gonna go and tell these guys that da 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 da." And then what happened? She went and told them. They're like, "Yeah, we can't do none." That is your second tech, and unfortunately, man, you are out of that game.
I'm trying to sabotage the man's that helped you. You about to go bring up?
Yeah, stamp it and approve it. Ejected. Get that out of there, man. That's what she deserved. Not her as an actress. She did a great job, but how they wrote her unnecessarily, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
Pack it
Get her out
up.
of here. JK already had one technical for even just being in the movie because he was unnecessary in his part too. So that's but I love JK. I love JK. So JK gets a bye. So I talked to him a little bit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But I think that she definitely deserves an ejection. We agree upon that one. Referees came together and we agreed that deserves to be an ejection. So.
Oh God, yeah, facts. Yeah. Well, another thing I liked that I enjoyed was the wardrobe. I thought that Christian Wolff's wardrobe was immaculate. That scene, obviously, in the RV where he's putting on the different stuff, and that funny scene of the kids in the chair saying, "But don't wear that color."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool and kind of genuine. I thought, the score was solid. If we had to nitpick, which is unfortunate, we're gonna do the picture. The girl's picture didn't look nothing like
her.
Yeah, her.
Well, they said that she lost weight and all that stuff too.
They could say whatever they said, but
that's
they
what I said.
did a better job.
Said, this is the same person.
Yeah, that's where most of my confusion was.
That's the plot points I told you, bro.
I thought it was somebody else the whole time.
So, that part of the movie was kind of
it didn't really track. And like I said, I didn't think it would turn into a whole we're saving the kids from trafficking thing, but it is what it is. I do think that one of the other comedic scenes that I thought was pretty funny was when they were kind of putting together on the wall the different connection and patterns between the murders, and they found out that old girl was responsible for a certain amount of murders, and Brax was looking like,
he's like, well, she definitely didn't do this one. Obviously,
definitely did that one.
It's like, how do you know? He's like,
how you know?
He's like, just an educated guess.
Hey, basically confessed to murder. That was hilarious.
Like, so we're confessing to capital murder now. Huh? He's like, bro, I didn't say anything. I didn't even say a word.
I didn't even say a word. I guess the overall theme of the film was for you. For me, I want to simply just say brotherhood, but I don't know if it's that simple to say.
Family. I feel like he was trying to find romance. Mm-hmm. I think they were both struggling to find something that was missing from their life their entire lives. That's what it was about. And
they had to come together to be able to identify that and to work on that.
The more individual they were, the more they went down that rabbit hole of the same stuff they were. Ben Affleck's character said to John's, was like, yeah, like you're alone. And he's like, why do you think I'm alone? And John's like, yo, why do you think I'm alone, bro? Like, why do you think I'm alone? And then they just like, exactly. So they were able to talk about that and dive into that. So I think that on the underlying story of it was that they were trying to find something that they didn't have. And throughout that, you know what I mean? They were obviously violent and all stuff like that. But I think that was the underlying thing, because at the end of the movie, that's how it ended. It ended with, him going to the cowboy bar. That was with Ben Affleck, got the girl's number. That was nice. And then John getting the cat. You know what I mean? And then him getting cheese in the car. He's like, all right, bro, like this nigga's been having like hour and a half. And he's just like, I want my cat, bro. But nah, I think
told you're a cat person, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Told you you're a cat person.
Nah, but that's kind of what yeah.
Big time. All right, so what would you rate it? Honestly, I would go 3 out of 5. Like it was solid. It was nothing crazy. But I would recommend it for people who are fans of the first one. But at the same time, it's not something that, I see myself continually going back to on a regular basis. If it's on, I'm going to watch it, one of those type films. But I don't think it was anything spectacular. But like I said, there's a lot of positives about that film. And I just think that in a year where it's hard to get certain things made, especially on the big screen, I respect that they were able to release it theatrically. And maybe the narrative was jumbled up, but there was still some, like I said, optimistic things when you left the theater, whether it's the action, whether it's the comedy, whether it's the brotherhood, whether it's the family.
I think I would personally rate it a 3. I would say 3 if we're going in our own, because you know what I mean. Everybody, some people use stars. Rotten Tomatoes uses tomatoes. If I was going to use our own metric, I would say I would give it about like 3 basketballs, probably 3 basketballs out of 5. To be honest with you, like I said, I think that getting the movie made, their chemistry together on John and Ben Affleck's chemistry on screen, and to get everything worked out and just like that story of it, I think it was a 3. Something that you can put on in the background. It definitely would be one of those ones I'll put on sometimes if I just want to watch a movie. Yeah, it's not like a spectacular movie, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, we did a review on a different movie recently, and that movie has skewed a lot of my viewing taste, unfortunately. So that's been obviously pretty difficult. But Dwayne has talked to me about how we need to watch every movie as it is, not comparing it to anything else. So I watch every movie no matter what it is, not comparing it to anything else, just watching it as taking it as it is. Another pause. Like the chemistry, like the underlying story of it. I thought the underlying story was the most intriguing part of the movie, personally.
Let's continue to be practical, man. Let's continue to shoot on location. This movie was shot in Los Angeles. You could get the feel of that. You could see it. If you ever been to Cali, you could really, really experience what is on screen visually. It adds to the level of and the stakes of the story when you're like, oh, that's this boulevard and this street right here. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drove by there. You know what I mean? It makes it more that much more realistic that you're living in the world of these characters that are on the screen. So let's continue to do that, man. I heard they got the funding for it, the rebates, whatever it is, the proper licensing to do it, and they're able to do that. So let's continue to shoot films on location, man, if we can. I think that makes a huge difference. Cinematography wise, looked as visually appealing as it did with the muddled story that we were talking about. Obviously, you know, the chemistry of John Bernthal and Ben Affleck can only take it so far. I think it would have brought the film down significantly. But like I said, because it looks the way it does, it really allows for us to forgive some of the error that we see in the plot.
I definitely agree with the fact that it visually is appealing. And when you watch a lot of movies from a cinematic view, you're able to appreciate things a little more than when the plot is terrible or you can't follow the plot. You know what I mean? At least it's visually appealing. At least you can feel like they're on site, on location, everything like that. At least you can see all that stuff. So I totally agree with that. As you know, I'm a Chris No guy, so practical everything is what I like.
All right, man. So with that being said, this was the Accountant 2, the review, SceneDM, scouting report. Your boy Deuce Wayne getting it done. We'll be back.
Big Merv, you already know.
Comment, let us know what film you'd want us to review, old or new. We will break it down. We got your back. But yes, sir, Merv. Same time, same place next week.
See ya.